This video is a demonstration of the catch stitch. This one's a little tricky. Just be patient and you'll get it. It might take some practice though. For it, you're going to need one piece of muslin. The book says use a bias cut piece of muslin for your sample. We're going to ignore that. You'll need a thread, a needle, and some snips. Notice my needle is not threaded because I'm going to show you how to double thread a needle. First thing you want to do is take your sample piece, and as we've done several times before, fold down a little bit, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. You'll press that at the iron, and you'll press down another fold. This should look very familiar by now. We've done this several times. For the catch stitch, you're probably going to want to use some pins as well. So I'm going to stick a few in here. Now, if you've ironed your piece nicely, it won't be doing this ugliness. So, again, make sure you're ironing when we have these folds. One more pin. All right. That's ready. Now, thread your needle. We're going to do this catch stitch with a double thread. We talked about this a little bit on threading day, but a double thread is just a little bit more secure. It helps in theater. So I want you to put your thread through the eye of your needle and then pull your thread through that needle until both of your tails are the same length. See that? Got both of those tails kind of at the same length. Now, I'm going to make a knot in that, both of them at the same time. You can either do the wraparound knot that we've done a lot in these videos, or you can do the French knot. Whichever way works, but you just want to tie a knot in both of the threads at the same time. If your knot looks a little ugly like that, grab your threads separately and pull them through and see how that tightened that up. Things can get a little slippy when you're using two threads. So, got a nice knot there. I'm going to trim off my excess. And we're going to start the catch stitch. Okay, the catch stitch, your needle points in the opposite direction that the stitch grows. My needle is going to point this way, and my stitch is going to grow in this direction. To start, you will put your needle through the top fold only. Both layers of that fold though. Take a small bite like that. And draw that down until your knot is against your fabric. Now, you'll cross down about 1/2 inch. And you'll take a small bite in the single piece of fabric. And you'll draw that down. Now see how my threads are traveling at different speed? You can kind of, there you go, grab it and get that squared away. So there's our first stitch. Notice, I took this stitch with my needle going that way. Now we'll go up to the top and we'll do that again. About 1/2 inch down. Take the stitch only through the top layer. We don't want to catch all of them. We only want to get this folded layer. Again, with my needle pointing this way. And tighten that down. See how that looks? And you repeat that process. We'll go down here and take another bite. Again, needle pointing that direction. But as you can see, our stitches keep getting longer in this direction. Cross stitch is a strange one. Or the catch stitch, excuse me. Some people call this the cross stitch. You'll probably hear me call it that a lot. But you call it the catch stitch because it just has these little catches. So here we go again, up to the top, only through the top folded part, not through all the layers. And then down to the bottom. Sorry about that. Cross stitch the top layer down to the bottom. What this stitch does is secure something back that you're trying to hold in place, but gives it a little bit of freedom of motion. You see how those can move around some? It's really nice for a part of the garment that has to have that kind of motion and not be really tacked in place very hard. Take a stitch through the fold and then move down to the bottom part. And you do this all the way across your sample. When you get ready to stop, when you've made it all the way across, you'll knot off. And you'll want to do that just through the folded part, that top layer. Again, because we like to keep our stitches hidden, we don't want things seen from the outside. So when you make your knots and things, you make it through a thicker part of the garment that's not going to show to the outside. I'm going to go ahead and just finish this pathway across. Hopefully you've seen how this process works well enough. If not, watch the video again. It's the best part of having them available. They're a good resource. All right, it's my second to last stitch there. Acting mean, catching on things. Here we go. And the last one, you want to take that final stitch and that top fold. It's a little short, a little strange looking, but then you can make your knot. Pick up a few yarns, and don't forget to put your needle through the loop. There's your knot. And one more. All right, that's the catch stitch. Pull these pins out and you can get a little better look at it. Should have little X's. That's why it's called the cross stitch by some people. But that can get a little confusing because of a different method of stitching called counted cross stitch. Don't worry about all that. This is our catch stitch. Here's what it looks like from the other side. You want to keep these as discreet as possible. This one is ideal. These are a little chunky, but I was doing it quickly. That's the catch stitch.